welcome to Seth Loves to Talk. Today, we'll be talking about my favorite piece of digital storytelling ever, Jon Bois' absurdly creative 220. If you haven't heard of Jon Bois, he's the creative director at SB Nation and is known for his eccentric and esoteric writing and videos, focusing on questions like, what is the worst pun of all time? Or, why is the name Bob going extinct in sports? Bois' signature style combines thorough research with Google Earth flyovers and smooth jazz, but 220 is Bois' magnum opus. A sequel to the National Magazine award-winning 17776, which was also known as What Football Will Look Like in the Future, 220 is a serialized speculative fiction piece released on SB Nation's new website Secret Base that takes place in, you guessed it, 220. 18,000 years after humans have become immortal due to advancements in nanotechnology, the reader is guided through this post-death world by 3 sentient space probes: Pioneer 9, Pioneer 10, and the Jupiter Icy Moon Explorer. With nothing better to do now that they have conquered death, Americans have turned to football to give their lives some sort of meaning. But this is not football as you know it. While 17776 followed vignettes of the hilariously grotesque football games Immortality has spawned, 220 narrows its focus to one game, fittingly called the Bowl Game. There are 111 college football programs participating in the Bowl Game. This is possible because there are 111 fields, extending out from the school's home field until it reaches the ocean or the US border. That also means there's 111 footballs. The game is won when all 111 footballs are on one team's field. The game has been going on for over 2,000 years and is nowhere close to ending, but after introducing the game in the first few chapters, Bois begins to use its strange rules to masterfully weave an open-ended story discussing themes of love, identity, and purpose. The protagonists of 220 are Nick Navarro and Manny Baez, a married couple who play free safety for San Diego State. The thing about San Diego State is that because of the angle of their field, it is the only field that does not intersect with at least one other field, missing the Boise State field's southern terminus by about 5 miles. This makes playing the game for San Diego State theoretically impossible, as you're not allowed to leave the field of play for more than 10 seconds. In order to circumvent this issue, Commissioner Juice, yes, the satellite is the commissioner, came up with the idea to bank 1 second of out-of-bounds time for every year a player stays on the field. The weight of Nick and Manny's dedication to football hits you when you realize they trained relentlessly for 1,500 years just so they could play. With 25 minutes of out-of-bounds time, they made the run to Boise State in an incredible 18 minutes 57 seconds. That's how our heroes got here. Hundreds of years later in 220, scouting Georgia State from an Atlanta condo located on the state field. The story of 220 is about what Nick and Manny do from there, as they try to pull off the greatest fumble recovery in the history of the bowl game, and maybe even all of football. As you follow Nick and Manny on their trek back home, Bois peppers you with satellite imagery, play diagrams, rule breakdowns, scouting reports, collectible cards, and newspaper clippings. It is nonsensical, it is weird, and it is amazing. But what I really love about 220 is Bois' ability to interweave nonsensical football fiction with obscure American history, leaving the reader with something deeper to ponder. One of the funniest examples of this is a bit in Chapter 8, where you're introduced to a Northern Illinois player named Lori Irving, who is the special guest for a game night at a chess club in Iuka, Illinois, that specializes in playing a variant of chess known as Illinois chess, featuring a board of Chicago suburbs available for purchase, new additions like rook factories, and a secondary arbitration phase that extends the board and forces the player to battle through the four sanctums. Lori's opponent is a socially inept neckbeard conspiracy theorist that believes Alexander the Great, Cleopatra, and Ptolemy's remains are buried somewhere in Iuka. It's written with everyone knows someone exactly like this dude and hates them energy. But for as outlandish as it would be to believe Alexander the Great is buried in Illinois, we know people have believed worse. Bois is like an archaeologist showing you his prized collection of historical artifacts that his weird game has unearthed. He's filtered through all the boring things and is trying to show you the stuff that actually makes you think. One particular coincidence he points out is that Clemson's field happens to pass through Ball Ground, Georgia, a place where the Cherokee people used to play large games of stickball. By incredible coincidence, if you continue southwest on Clemson's field, you'll pass through Ball Play, Alabama, where the Cherokee people there did the same thing. Juice, who's very much a character of Jon himself, as he is the creator of this game, has this to say about it.
It was a rough game, injuries abounded, but it was a genius innovation because it served as a substitute for warfare. For a while, everyone played men, women, old, young, whoever. They called it the little brother of war. Absolutely brilliant, a big sprawling game far larger than any conventional sport that would follow. Designed as a substitute for death. It's inspired me beyond words. I mean, does it remind you of anything?
These excavated gems of American history are what turned 220 from a story about a made-up game of football into a much deeper discussion on humans and the impact we have on the world around us. Bois has mentioned that he didn't set out to teach any specific lessons through 220, instead electing to create open-ended exploration of themes and concepts. He's loved the multitude of reader interpretations, some of which find the world of 220 to be a type of heaven, and others find to be a nightmarish hell. 220 is so many things at once: pointless, creative, surprising, immersive, and thought-provoking. It is a must-read, regardless of whether you like sports or not, because ultimately, it's not about sports, or even why we play them. It's about why we do anything. Speaking of doing things, click that subscribe button and like this video. Stay tuned for the follow-up to 220, 221, coming in 2021. While you're at it, follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Seth Loves to Talk. You can check out more of Jon's work at SB Nation's YouTube channel, Secret Base. He's also got a personal channel, Jon Bois. And I've made a playlist of all my favorite Jon Bois videos, which you can find in the description. Thanks for watching.